Hello again and welcome to Cowboy Football Weekly, driven by Nissan. Well, the Cowboys, for the second week in a row, took one on the chin, this time at Missouri. Went all the way to Columbia, Missouri to take on the Missouri Tigers last time out, Kevin. This was a tough one. That was a very good football team, number one, out of the SEC. They played like it. Cowboys struggled really kind of throughout, although I thought there were some silver linings to this cloud. There were some things that I thought, for example, the Cowboy offense got better as the game wore on, and as they opened up the offense. I thought they got a little bit better in this game.
I think so too, and opening up that playbook, as you say, it probably helped them a little bit. But that was a very good football team, a very good defensive team. But there were certainly some things you can take out of it and build for this next week. You bet. I think Cooper Roth continues to shine, and other things we'll talk about a little bit later. But Tyler Vander Waal, the Cowboy quarterback, he did talk a little bit about the Cowboy offense against Missouri.
No, it's definitely good to see that the offense made progress from last week. I think if you looked at last week's performance as a whole, we weren't very happy. This week, I thought we got better. It was a little too little too late when it got going. So I think if we started at the beginning, like our offense, like I know we can play well. So if we just started that at the beginning, I think we'll be fine.
So with that Cowboy offense a point of focus in the Missouri game, I thought one other thing that really kind of jumped out at times, and certainly more than once, Kevin, was the Cowboy running game, and particularly Javon Bigelow. He looked very good, and I thought he kind of showed his mettle when he fumbled, I think it might have been his first carry, and came back and performed well the rest of the way.
He really did, and of course a lot of pressure on him because Nico wasn't going to play, probably isn't going to play this week. So Javon had to go up against Missouri in that opening game, and I'm telling you, he did as well as I think you could ask a guy to do. And he just got better and stronger as the game went along, and I think he's going to be a very fine running back here. Yeah,
he's a true freshman out of Fresno, California, and Javon Bigelow talked a little bit more about what this experience is doing for him.
Just taking it day by day and game by game, I'll get more comfortable, and it's just, for me right now, it's just me being a young person and just me being a freshman and just my second year running back. I'm just trying to find that groove so I get comfortable so I can get started on the first carry or maybe the second carry so I can help the offense out. The confidence is most definitely still there. Just got to figure out what we need to do as an offense to get started faster, because we got started in the second half, but it needs to start from the very first drive the moment we get the ball.
Well, it was a tough go, however, for the Cowboy defense, second game in a row, although I thought they kind of got a little bit stronger at times and showed some stuff in this game against an SEC opponent. And I don't know, you have to think that these experiences against these big-name SEC teams going to help the Cowboys on down the line.
Well, you have to. They've got to get better at rushing the passer and all those kind of things. But they were on the field an awful lot in that game, Dave, and that's not easy for a defense to do. But I think there were times where they really played well. And at the start of the game, they did play well. I think they wore down as the game went on because they were out on the field so much. But early on, when the Cowboys fumbled, they forced a field goal there. They forced a couple early field goals. I thought they hung in there very well. But as the game went along and the team runs 93 plays, it gets pretty tough. But I think they have to feel a little bit better about themselves on those first few drives, how well they played.
You bet. Well, should the Cowboy defense be wringing their hands over what has happened the last couple of games? Cowboy safety Andrew Wingard says,
Not worried at all. I mean, I remember 2 years ago we were, I think, 2-2 going into conference, and we obviously had a great season after that. So we're gonna have a good test next week against Wofford, and then it's a new season when the conference starts. So
yeah, it's the Wofford Terriers out of the Southern Conference. That's next up for the Wyoming Cowboys, and we're gonna come back and talk more about the Terriers out of the FCS when we come back here on Cowboy Football Weekly, presented by Nissan. Back after this.
We've all been there. Gridlock. But this is the 2018 Nissan Rogue. It's got Pro Pilot Assist and can stop and start on its own to help keep your distance from that car ahead, and can help keep you centered in your lane.
Get a low $199 per month lease or get 0% financing for 60 months on Rogue.
Now the most exciting tech you own is in your driveway.
If keeping your work site on time, on budget, and onto the next job is keeping you up at night, you need to wake up to Komatsu. Our machines are designed for production, uptime, and savings. We are more than just iron. We are giving you a technology to move more material in less passes, start sooner, finish faster, and burn less fuel. We are solving problems before you had them. So stop doing what you've always done. The only thing that's going to keep you up at night is wondering why you didn't do it sooner. Discover the job site of your future. Komatsu.
When did we stop thinking up new questions and daring to chase down their answers? The world needs more wonder, more outside thinkers hungry for a challenge. The world needs more cowboys. And it's not what you are that makes you a cowboy or cowgirl, but who you are. It's a shared spirit, the kind that emboldens those who possess it to stand on the perimeter and howl into the unknown with unbendable optimism. The world needs more cowboys.
So the Wofford Terriers up next for the Wyoming Cowboys. 2 p.m. kickoff right there in War Memorial Stadium. Should be a good one. This is a very good team out of the FCS. This is a team also, Kevin, that runs the triple option. Offensively, they're going to throw that option at the Cowboy defense, and that'll be interesting. Always interesting. It's not like the Cowboys don't ever see it, however.
Well, I think a lot of teams would be concerned about coming up against that kind of an offense. Not Wyoming. You see it all the time with Air Force. You see it all the time with New Mexico. And when I look at their two deep, their offense looks size-wise like Air Force. Not really big linemen, smaller, quicker linemen, very small scat back, halfbacks. They have a really good fullback, but they have a lot of similarities to what Air Force does. And so the Cowboys have done well against the Falcons through the years. And I think that this isn't going to be anything that they're going to wring their hands with. Yeah,
Cowboy head football coach Craig Bowles says those similarities that they'll see with Wofford should help the Cowboys.
You know, there's similarities when you kind of group them. The one advantage, I shouldn't say an advantage, but I think it is somewhat of an advantage. You know, we have played Air Force, we have played New Mexico, and while those two offenses have some similarities, there's some differences, but they're certainly more similar. So it's not like with some of our older players, they have not seen those type of schemes where, you know, when you are maybe operating in another league like the Big Ten, you never get attacked like that on an ongoing basis. And so we think that's going to be helpful. What's going to be important that we come up, and our coaches I know have been, and we've all been grinding like crazy. Making sure that we got a good game plan on both sides of the football and then the kicking game.
So the Cowboy defense preparing for that option attack by Wofford. What about the Cowboy offense? When they have the football, Kevin, what are they going to see over there from the Terriers?
Well, they're going to see a three-man front, an Okie front, which is unusual. You don't see it all the time. I think that we were talking about this a little bit like New Mexico in terms of they got 4 linebackers. They are coming from every which way. So they try to confuse, but they've got a great nose tackle. He's an All-American candidate by the name of Brown. He's like 6'2", 320, so he's going to be hard to root out of there. It'll be a challenge, and it'll be a little bit unusual, or more unusual than what they've seen so far this year.
You bet. Cowboy offensive line coach Scott Fuchs talked a little bit about this Wofford defensive front.
You know, they're 3 down front. I think their front, they got some big guys, really athletic. I think they move around really well. I think that in itself is challenging. You know, for us, it's important to just keep what we do really simple. You know, they can be coming at all angles when you have a 3 down team. You got backers everywhere, and people flying around. So us keeping the game plan simple in what we do so that we can play fast, I think that's going to be important.
So the Wyoming Cowboys put that 1-2 record on the line against the Wofford Terriers. They come in at 2-0. That's their overall record. Cowboys get them right there in War Memorial Stadium. Like that part. Always like that part, Kevin. Weather is supposed to be outstanding and should get a good crowd for a big game.
Yeah, it's going to be a big game. The Cowboys need to win this game, and everybody to a man knows that. But it's not going to be easy. It'll be a challenge. Should be entertaining.
Yeah, this is the last non-conference game on the schedule for the Cowboys, as they'll have the bye week next and then into conference play against Boise State. So come back next time here on Cowboy Football Weekly, driven by Nissan, and we'll talk all about Cowboy football. That'll do it for us. For Kevin McKinney, I'm Dave Walsh. So long, everybody.